Hi everyone. Today I wanted to bring two different breathing techniques that I use when I am feeling really distracted during my meditation. So distractions happen for a lot of different reasons. It could be the way that you're feeling or something that had happened in the past, something you're worried about in the future. I find that my level of distraction synchronizes with my cycle. So I could be totally focused one day, and as I get closer to my period, I am not as clear anymore. So I think that it has a lot to do with what goes on inside the body as well for men too. Any kind of chemical reactions happening in the body, maybe what you ate yesterday. A lot of things can come into factor when it comes to distractions. So understanding that distractions aren't really our fault, it's not something that we're doing, is a way to help accept it and try to understand what our bodies are saying a little bit more, or just understand the way that our body is behaving with our mind. So the way that I like to think of it is that the mind is like a toddler, pretty much. From birth, we don't really do anything to help discipline our mind. We just let our mind run free and splatter paint on the walls and eat dirt and cut their hair. And that is what our toddler mind is like. We have to be very gentle with it and almost a little clever in a way to try to trick it into focusing rather than trying to force it to sit down, because when you do that with a toddler, they will start crying, screaming, fighting you, all different kinds of things. So that is what your mind is going to do if you force it to stop thinking or to be disciplined or to focus. If you try to force these ideas on yourself and put a lot of pressure on not thinking at all, you're going to create a lot more trouble for yourself. So remembering that meditation is not about not thinking, but we want to be accepting of what's going on in our mind and be able to notice when we are thinking and what we are thinking about. In order to do that, I practice two different types of breathing techniques that help me to come back to my center, to bring my mind and my body together, but not in a forceful way. Here is the first technique that I do. I will begin to count my in and out breath. So for 1, in, out 2, in 3, out 4. Counting all the way up to 10, and then going back to 1. So counting in, out, all the way until I reach 10, and then once I go to 10, I come back to 1. This is a challenging practice, and this is something that takes time. Sometimes you may forget that you're even counting, sometimes you may lose track of what number you're on, and sometimes you may go past 10 and then realize maybe when you're at 15, oh, I have to come back to 1. All of that is totally fine, and noticing when that happens, noticing when you've counted too far, noticing when you've become distracted again. Coming back and counting to 1 really strengthens that muscle. In order to help make this technique a little bit less challenging if you're just beginning, is to use your hands to count with your breath. So I will start in 1, out 2, in 3, out 4, and then when I get to 5, I put my thumb down. So you know that you've finished counting on this hand. Each time you count, you're following your in and out breath, and you're following it with your hands so that when you get lost or distracted, you know what number that you're on, you know where to pick up, and it helps you to stay focused. If you notice while you practice this that it's easy or even more distracting, then don't use the hands. The hands are just a technique that I came up with to help you not get lost as easily when you're mentally trying to count, because I know it can be very tricky. I had difficulty when I first practiced counting in my head. I always had to come back to 1 before I reached 10, or I would always count over and have to come back to 1. The second technique is also one that allows you to focus on your breathing, and it is challenging because you have to remember in your head what you're doing. And the main key for both of these techniques is not to get frustrated with yourself, because you will count over 10. You will forget whether you're on your in-breath or your out-breath. Remember, every single time you come back to 1, or every single time you come back to your breath and you remember the techniques that you were practicing, you're getting stronger. So try your best not to really take it too intensely or to put too much pressure on yourself. So this second technique has to do with following your breath in your mind. So when you breathe in, I'm breathing in, I know that I'm breathing in. When you breathe out, you say mentally, I'm breathing out, I know that I'm breathing out. Breathing in, I know that I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I know that I'm breathing out. And you'll follow this pattern in your head over and over as you're breathing. And if you do get distracted, which you will, you come back to your breath and you go, I'm breathing in, I know that I'm breathing in. I'm breathing out, you know that you're breathing out. What is cool about this technique is, almost that we breathe throughout our day and we don't know whether we just breathed out or if we just breathed in. And it's funny because you would think that being in our body all the time, that'd be something that we'd pay attention to. So it is a cool way to pay attention to something in your body that happens all the time and kind of focus on it, make it a little bit more special, bring more attention to yourself. Take it at your own pace. When you're breathing in and breathing out, just mentally say it to yourself, and when you get distracted, just come back to that breath. I find that both of these techniques really, really help me when I am struggling to find my focus. And it also is like a really cool exercise because I've seen myself progress from starting the technique, counting way over or totally forgetting if I was on my in-breath or out-breath. And over time, over a few months practicing this, I realized that it has gotten easier for me, and I also feel stronger when I do it, and it helps me feel more focused. I hope that it helps you with your practice. Remember to be kind to yourself and accepting no matter what happens. It is all a part of the journey, and there will be some challenges. So good luck to you, and we'll see you next time. Bye.